Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap the notification bell. I'd appreciate it majorly. So, lots going on, and there's still going to be more to come later today in a little over 2 hours, I think, 1 p.m. Hawaii time, which is like 5 hours before us here in Philly. They're gonna. I think somebody's gonna give a press conference because Lori's due to be in court. It's not her extradition hearing. It's just I don't exactly know what it is. Some kind of preliminary hearing. I don't know if her bail will be, debated in that hearing, but I do believe whether or not she's going to allow herself to be extradited, or fight it. That's what's going to be decided, I believe, today. And if she's going to fight it, waive her right to a hearing, an extradition hearing, meaning she just would allow herself to be extradited. If she does that, then she'll be taken to Rexburg within, I guess, days. If she doesn't, that hearing, an extradition hearing in Hawaii would be in a couple weeks. So in which case it's possible she would have to remain in jail until that time. I don't know if she could post bail until her extradition hearing. I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. We'll see. We'll find out at 1:00 probably. So, but the court documents, as it relates to her arrest, leading up to her arrest, that's been released, and that's what I wanted to go over mostly. Just a few things. And I don't even think I got through the entire thing, but I'd be here all day if I went. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just going through what I find as important. I mean, but even just seeing what Eric Grossarth posted on his Twitter account from East Idaho News that Chad Daybell received a $430,000 in life insurance when Tammy Daybell died, on October 19th, 2019. And he says that's in the court documents. I didn't see that. I think it's beyond where I stopped reading. But before I even proceed, I might as well go ahead and repeat my theories, which I continue to work under. I do. I continue to work under the theory that I do not think. I think these three people fake their deaths. I do. Obviously I could be wrong, but I could be right too, And wouldn't it be crazy if I was? But I'm operating under the theory that all three of these people, Alex Cox, Charles Vallow, and Tammy Daybell, somehow managed to fake their deaths, whether or not they had help. They probably did, but help within the system, I don't know. But that's one theory. My other theory is that for some reason, somehow I think some of these people were involved in the massacre in northern Mexico where the LeBaron family and the Langford family, the women and children that were in the caravan going from one town in northern Mexico to another part of northern Mexico, supposedly for a wedding. The reason I had this theory that some of these people were involved in is because of what's seen on the surveillance footage in the Rexburg storage unit that Lori, purchased. And shows Lori going there with Alex Cox, presumably, and Alex Cox going there by himself, and Alex Cox going there another time with another man who we don't know who that is, maybe Chad Daybell, maybe not, But some of the items that are brought in and out, particularly one that's brought out and the tire that's brought in and out, the large tote, as forget it, Nate Eaton called it in his coverage of that story. The large tote with something hanging over the edge, I thought looked very much like a large seat, like the rear seat of a large SUV, like a Chevy Suburban, is what I would guess. And my theory is that that there was some kind of drug operation in northern Mexico, and that these women, along with children, because that would be the perfect front that nobody would suspect, women and innocent children, smuggling drugs, were transporting drugs from one location to another, and that these people had the inside track on it, they knew about it, and they hijacked them, slaughtered them, and stole the drugs. But they would need my theory is that the drugs would be in the seat, they'd be in the tire, but they would need backup. They would need to replace whatever it is that they were going to rip out of there. Otherwise, the authorities would have to investigate further. Otherwise, the authorities would immediately know that it was drugs, So those are the two theories I'm operating under, The second one is just kind of, I don't talk about as much because it's, I'm just going by hunch on what I see in that surveillance footage. And it just immediately, that's what I thought instantaneously almost, as soon as I thought it's a car seat, I instantly, I don't know what, the tire. I think it was a tire. Something about it just drew me right to it. And, one of the cars, one of the SUVs, it was reported that, I think it was the first one that was hijacked around 10 a.m. And then the two Chevy Suburbans were I think hijacked around 11 a.m. One of them, it was reported that they had pulled over to repair a flat tire. And I don't know. It's a pretty big coincidence to me. And the tire in the Rexburg storage unit surveillance footage, it's a huge tire, man. It's a big tire, like a Chevy Suburban tire or a Chevy Tahoe tire, whatever. So back to this. This is what I wanted to go over a little bit, and then just finish with a little bit about Alex Cox and a story that's out there about him. Just something to say about it, that's my own perspective. If I could do this quick without taking like 45 minutes, because what's the point, So, one of the things that of the charges, there's the two felony counts of basically, what are they called? Abandonment, desertion and non-supportive children or spouse. Those are the two felonies, one for each child. And then there's two misdemeanors or three misdemeanors. Actually, it's three misdemeanors. It's resisting and obstructing an officer. That's just a misdemeanor, And then there's the solicitation for obstructing an officer. And then there's the contempt of court, and that's basically not showing up when she was given the court order to appear in Rexburg with her children, either at the Rexburg Police Department or at the Health and Welfare Office. So, but the one that is the solicitation. That he immediately was like, well, who is she soliciting? And it's a person named Melanie Gibb, who maybe is not entirely new to this story. I think other people who are there's thousands of videos out there on this. There's believe me, they have flooded the airwaves. That absolutely, just confuses everybody, and it's a joke, dude. Believe it. But whatever. So, I don't know that I looked into this person. I hadn't, but others probably had. So, and apparently, I guess Lori was at least somewhat friends with her. She was doing some podcasts with her. Her name is Melanie Gibb, okay? And this is the solicitation charge that the defendant, Lori Noreen Vallow, or a.k.a. Lori Noreen Daybell, on or about the 26th day of November 19th, in the county of Madison, state of Ohio, with the purpose of promoting or facilitating the commission of a crime, encouraged and or requested Melanie Gibb to engage in conduct which would constitute the crime of resisting and or obstructing an officer by requesting and or encouraging Melanie Gibb to give false information to law enforcement regarding the whereabouts of a child, JJ Vallow, JV, date of birth, 5/25/2012, And, the entire description of that is basically number 12 through 16. I got some notes to keep myself organized here. So, essentially, let me just paraphrase before I read through this. Lori they told him a number of different things. One of the first things they told him was that JJ was with his grandmother, Kay Vallow Woodcock, which they instantly knew that wasn't true because she was the one who requested the welfare check. She called the Gilbert Police Department on November 25th. November 25th. That's one day after the very last visit, to the Rexburg storage unit, at least, according to surveillance. The final visit was on the 24th. The next day, Kay Vallow Woodcock called the Gilbert Police Department, and requested a welfare check on JJ Vallow, I guess, assuming she thought he was still in Arizona, in Gilbert, Arizona. It could very well be that once that welfare check started, things went into motion, and that was the last time, obviously they went to the storage unit. But as of November 24th, there was no incriminating material in the Rexburg storage unit beyond November 24th. I mean, there was nothing in there. So just worth noting, So, but on the 26th, they actually, they go to speak to Lori, and they do. And they speak with her. They speak with Chad Daybell. They kind of speak to him on multiple times during the same day, because where Lori is saying that JJ is, they're trying to reach the person, Melanie Gibb, and they're not able to contact her. They're not able to reach her. She's not answering her phone. They're not answering their calls to her. Let me just read through it, just so it's a little easier that way. On the same day, myself and Detective Stubbs, I can't remember who myself is. It's the main detective who is, this is his affidavit that he's basically put together. On the same day, myself and Detective Stubbs of the RPD, the Rexburg Police Department, located and spoke with Lori Vallow in her apartment number 175. We identified ourselves as RPD officers. Lori told us that JJ Vallow, Joshua Vallow, was in Gilbert, Arizona with a friend named Melanie Gibb. We obtained Melanie's phone number from Lori. We ended our contact with Lori and immediately attempted to call Melanie Gibb. We were unable to contact her. Because Detective Stubbs and I were unable to contact Melanie Gibb, we immediately contacted Lori Vallow again, and we requested that she call Melanie Gibb. At this time, Lori told us that Melanie and JJ, Joshua Vallow, were at the movie Frozen 2, so it was unlikely Melanie would answer the phone. We instructed Lori to call Melanie Gibb and have her call us so we could verify the location of JJ. By the evening of November 26th, the same day, 2019, we had still not heard from Melanie Gibb, so RPD, Rexburg Police Department, informed Detective Brian Pillar of the Gilbert Police Department of the information we had received regarding the children being with Melanie Gibb. I was informed later that evening, around 9:30 p.m., that Gilbert police went to the home of Melanie Gibb. Melanie was not home, but Detective Pillar contacted her by phone, and she stated that JJ Vallow was not staying at her Arizona house and had not been there for several months. Okay, that's November 26th. So, and then on December 6th, which is, I don't know how many days are in November, 30 or 31. We'll call it 31. So 5 plus 6, 11 days later, on December 6, 2019, RPD was contacted by Melanie Gibb and informed that both Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow called Melanie on November 26 at separate times and asked her to tell the police that she had JJ, even though Joshua Vallow was not with her. Melanie informed RPD that she declined Chad's and Lori's requests. This further establishes that the statement made to law enforcement by Lori Vallow on November 26, 2019 was false, and that Lori Vallow knew it was false. Okay, so that's where that's the obstruction charge and the solicitation of obstruction charge. I guess, I'm not a lawyer, but if you go down to number 27, I mean, it tells you when Lori and Chad Daybell precisely left the country, or left the states, left the mainland, whatever, and went to Hawaii. Okay, and that was on December 1st. Okay, so number 27, RPD has verified that Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow flew from Los Angeles, California airport to Kauai on American Airlines on December 1st, 2019. This information was obtained through a search warrant served on American Airlines. RPD cannot find any information suggesting they returned to the mainland of the United States since that time, and it appears they have been in Hawaii since they arrived on December 1st, 2019. Those same records established that JV and Joshua Vallow and Tylee Ryan were not with their mother, Lori Vallow, when she flew to Kauai. And they remained. They've been there since December. They went there before to get married. I forget when that was. I think it was November 5th. But that's when they left, and they've been there since December 1st. So, but that was between the date that, they initially were told the story that JJ, Joshua Vallow, was with Melanie Gibb, and which was November 26th, and it took a while before they were able to finally track her down sometime later in the evening, beyond 9:30 p.m. They finally got her on the phone after trying to call her several times, after the Gilbert Police Department detective going out to her home, and he eventually got her on the phone. That's November 26th. And then, but she waited until December 6th, after December 1st, after they had already gone to Hawaii to inform the police, on December 6, 2019, RPD was contacted by Melanie Gibb and informed that both Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow called Melanie on November 26, 2019 at separate times and asked her to tell the police that she had JJ, even though JJ was not with her. Melanie informed RPD that she declined Chad's and Lori's request. This further establishes that the statement made to law enforcement by Lori Vallow on November 26, 2019 was false, and that Lori Vallow knew it was false. But, Melanie knew it was false too, but she waited until December 6th to tell him that. She didn't tell him that day, And, but she's talking to Gilbert Police. Here she's talking to Rexburg Police Department. On November 26th, she spoke to a detective from the Gilbert Police Department. These are local police departments. She's not speaking to feds, okay? And so, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know. I don't think it's against the law to lie to law enforcement unless you're talking to the feds. It wouldn't shock me if most all these versions that are given, I don't know. That's a good question. They're given to local law enforcement and not the feds. Whoever we're talking about, whatever family member we're talking about, and there's lots of them. So, anyways, one of the other things I just wanted to just show you that, they actually, that apartment complex where JJ and Tylee and Lori were staying, and I guess Chad, sort of, I don't know if he was living with them or what at that point, maybe not. In that same, all three, Alex Cox and Melanie Boudreau, Brandon Boudreau's wife that he was going through a divorce with or had divorced, I guess by that point, who's the niece of Lori Vallow. All three of them that each had their own unit in that one apartment complex, and I found that definitely significant. And that, I just I don't buy any of this, man. I don't buy anybody's version of events. I do not one bit. So the other thing that was that's in here is the contents that were found during the search of the condo in Princeville, Hawaii, as well as the SUV when they served search warrants on Lori and Chad Daybell, in Kauai, Hawaii, Princeville, as well as, and served her paperwork to, appear with the children. And, just some of the things in there were definitely significant to me, and they don't necessarily, they could be either way. I continue to believe that JJ and Tylee are alive. I think a lot of people don't believe that, and my wife doesn't believe that, but I do. I believe they're alive. I do. I have a very strong belief, and I hope it stays that way. Obviously. So, but what was found in their possession during serving those search warrants to search the condo and their SUV was the birth certificates of Tylee, Ryan, and JJ, That's one, and that's probably the most significant. You know, I mean that could go either way. That could mean they're dead, or that could mean they're alive. And eventually Lori would be reuniting with them, and those are required, especially if there's death benefits that are going to both those two people. And as I understand it, there is. So establishing accounts and transferring things and transferring accounts from one locality to another. Birth certificate is key, particularly if, you're changing states or even changing countries, whatever. That's definitely a big thing. But that could very well be if they're already deceased, and you're just using the birth certificates to continue to draw on those death benefits. But I totally don't. I totally believe they're still alive. I absolutely believe that, and it's for the first thing that I was saying. It's also one of the things is Tylee Ryan's financial transaction card issued by. I mean, these are things, that where, and I think there was some money transferred to that card to Colby, possibly. I think, he received on his Venmo account and probably came from that card. I don't really know. So, and then JJ's iPad, again, just to make sure that he wouldn't log on to anything, or Tylee wouldn't log on. It was also reported that her phone was in their possession, even though that's not listed here. Another iPad, which was logged into JJ's Apple account. JJ's school registration receipts from Kennedy Elementary in Rexburg, Idaho. Anyways. So, I don't know. I just wanted to go through that quickly. The other thing, they did speak to some of Chad Daybell's family members. They spoke to Chad Daybell's parents, so Tammy Daybell's, in-laws, and Tammy Daybell's sister, and sister and husband, and we don't know. We don't know everything. These family members could have been told from the beginning they're not, told not to speak to the press, and that because of this ongoing investigation, they can't give comments and stuff like that. Even though some have released, one released a statement. I think Chad Daybell's brother did. It's just some of the things that are talked about, because this is for the missing persons report. This is for the missing persons investigation of the two missing kids. That's what they're asked about. And so maybe, there's no comment beyond that. But in number 40 and 41, through this investigation, I interviewed Chad Daybell's parents, so Tammy Daybell's in-laws, Jack and Sheila Daybell, in Springville, Utah, where Tammy Daybell was, supposedly buried. They informed me that Chad and Lori told them in November that Lori Vallow was an empty nester, meaning that she didn't have kids, okay? But, but in both cases, in this case with speaking to Chad Daybell's parents and in speaking to Tammy Daybell's sister and her husband, it's just like, where is the curiosity about their daughter-in-law and sister's death? I mean, that's the obvious question. Like, why wouldn't you have questions about that, or more questions, and I mean, my conclusion is that she's not dead, and that she's just, I don't know how the hell they did it, but that's my belief. So through this investigation, I interviewed Chad Daybell's parents, Jack and Sheila Daybell, in Springville, Utah. They informed me that Chad and Lori told them in November that Lori Vallow was an empty nester. Number 41, through this investigation, RPD, Rexburg Police Department, has interviewed Jason and Samantha Samantha Gwilliam is the sister of deceased Tammy Daybell. Jason and Samantha informed RPD that Chad had told them Lori had no juvenile children. But the fact that their sister has died at a very young age, seemingly unexpectedly, and before these children went missing, her death was ruled natural causes. She was buried. There was no media focus. There was no investigation into her death until the children went missing. So the fact that these family members were told that Chad and Lori told them they didn't have any children, but they weren't they didn't have questions about their sister or daughter-in-law dying at such a young age, you know. And like I said earlier, about a life insurance policy, which whatever, you know, Chad Daybell received at least $430,000 in life insurance when Tammy died. I don't know. It doesn't seem to make sense. You know, I think that's fair, dude. You know, I don't think this is about life. I mean, it's life insurance is, you know, money's money, but I think there's something way bigger, way bigger going on. You know. So, you know, that's just a little review of some of the things that I found important in this court document, you know, leading to Lori Vallow's arrest. The last thing I wanted to just very quickly go over again, and I don't want to spend a lot of time because I've already done this. I've already done it. And I saw the story about, you know, letters written by Alex Cox to a friend, and that, you know, supposedly he was obsessed with Lori, her sister's ex-husband, Joseph Anthony Ryan, you know, and that he wrote about them in those letters. And I'm not here to talk about those letters, you know, and they're in this, there's excerpts from it and stuff, and that's supposedly from when he was in jail for I think it was 90 days in a county jail. I believe in Travis County. Travis County, I think, is Austin. Anyway, Texas. But what struck me about this report, okay, so I don't have anything to say about that, about the letters. What struck me was just some more photos of Alex Cox, you know, and you just get a little bit of a better idea of, you know, a young Alex Cox, you know, to an older Alex Cox. Supposedly he was 52 when he died. In my opinion, he's still alive. Okay, that's just my opinion. You know, I could be wrong. So, but you know, you kind of have. Let's see if I can do this properly. Just so you get an idea of kind of the three different Alex Coxes. All right, you know, here's a pretty young one. I think this is in Austin. Okay. And, you know, here's sort of like in between, and here's the most, that looks like, you know, like an older Alex Cox, probably right before he supposedly died, okay? You know, and I'm putting like 15 years between this and this. I mean, that's kind of my view of that. You know, maybe that's a stretch, maybe it's only 10, but I can see a visible difference from this Alex Cox to this Alex Cox. This is a 35-year-old Alex Cox to me. You know, this is kind of like, you know, a 50-year-old Alex Cox, all right? Roughly, okay? And what I'm saying to you is that this Alex Cox, this 35-year-old Alex Cox, when we're looking at the three versions of Alex Cox, you know, from fairly middle-aged to getting older, looks more like, you know, this Alex Cox, okay? This Alex Cox that's in this best Looney Tunes impersonator in the world, hands down. That's posted over at Kathy Dean's YouTube page. Kathy Dean, the producer of 98.5, who worked directly with her brother, you know. And this is on June 2nd, 2016. All right? And, you know, there it is again. I mean, that to me looks close to that, okay, you know, and definitely not close to that, okay, you know. Basically what I'm telling you is that looks like an Alex Cox that's 10, 15 years from now, you know, ago, okay. And I already made this point, but I'm going to make it again because it's just so odd. And you know, because I looked at Kathy Dean, and she's in this report here. She talks about him, that he was, you know, a funny guy, a nice guy, a good-looking guy, a charming guy. And if I could bring up her audio, hopefully, without it playing an ad on me. It's going to play an ad. Basically, what I'm saying to you is, and when you look at all the videos that are posted on her YouTube page, okay, which are right here, you know, and there's several of them. It goes back, I don't even know, 9, 10 years, all the way to the bottom. It goes to 10 years from now, something like that. 12 years, okay? And as best as I can tell, these are all in fairly chronological order, you know. This one here is even after she has left the station. Supposedly she worked there from 2007 to 2014, okay? And Lucas Cox, Adam Cox, Alex Cox is his brother, went to work for the station in 2012 after like a 5-year heinous, if I'm not pronouncing that right, where he couldn't get work because of an incident that happened in California where a contestant, you know, drank too much water and died. It's a whole other story. But this is her in I forget the date of that video, but it's timely. It's September 8th, 2017, and they're actually promoting that William Shatner is coming to Wichita, Kansas, you know, on November 3rd. I think they actually say the date, you know, because that's what this event is here. William Shatner World. It's coming to some theater. I forget what it's called. Orpheum Theatre on November 3rd. And they're talking about that. And it was, you know, and they're promoting it, you know. And so this was uploaded when it happened, you know, and you can go back and look at each one. All right, you know, or many of them, you know, ones that you can pin down a time for live Macy Gray. This is like uploaded 2 days after the time she performed in some venue in Wichita, Kansas. And you can, you know, go back to a Willie Nelson with his son playing, I think, in Austin, Texas at some Whiskey River bar, you know. It's like literally uploaded 2 or 3 days after the actual event took place that she filmed it. Same thing here, this Sarah McLachlan ukulele, you know, same thing. And they're all, believe me, I don't want to bore you going through each one, you know, but they're timely, you know. This was uploaded 2 days after the event took place, you know. March 4th. I'm sorry. So and this is March 5th. So, you know, she appeared on March 4th in Stifle Theater, you know, for the Performing Arts, Sarah McLachlan, you know, in 2014. The article's November 2014 because they're promoting this, that she's going to be there on the March 4th, 2015. And I'm just saying, you know, she went and she uploaded the very next day. Everything's timely. You get the point. What I'm saying to you is, I already said this point, but it's like, why? Why did she take a video that's of a person who's from 12, this is in 2016, say it's 15 years old. So it was 12 years old and plop it in here on her YouTube page, you know, maybe whatever. So say it's 10 years old, you know, and so it was 7 years old at the time. Why did she do that? And that's what I'm asking you. That's just one other thing. I just want to reiterate that thing again. And the reason I could do that is because I have more pictures of Alex Cox and I can better gauge where this picture's from based on the 3 from the other report. And that's the story there, dude. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.